Welcome to the X's and Argos film session for Game 14, Week 17 of the CFL season. My name is Ben Grant. Toronto's offensive line has been under fire for the team's struggles, both running the football and in their trouble protecting McLeod Bethel-Thompson in 2022. So the Argos have the fewest rushing yards in the league. They've also got the lowest yards per carry and the third most sacks allowed. So obviously none of this is good. But in their defense, they've been missing essentially three starters for basically the entire season, including all-star center Peter Nicastro, who's sort of been forgotten about this season. And then you've got guard center Philip Blake, who's been playing left tackle. Deshaun Allen's playing on the wrong side. And rookie Gregor McKellar has been forced into action almost all season long at guard. So needless to say, the team must have been thrilled with the addition of Canadian offensive lineman Ryan Hunter, who brings with him 4 years of NFL experience and a Super Bowl ring. And so bringing that kind of experience and caliber lineman to Toronto is obviously really exciting. And there he was, basically a week after signing, playing serious minutes against Calgary. So let's dive in and see how he looked and how he might help this team going forward. So Ryan Hunter can play every position along the offensive line. I personally like him best at left tackle, but the thing is he's played way more American ball than Canadian ball, so it's going to take some time for him to get used to that 1 yard neutral zone. It really impacts American tackles way more so than it does interior offensive linemen coming north of the border. So I want to show you the second offensive play of the game against Calgary last week. So they brought out Hunter, and he's going to play tight end here in a heavy package. And you can see the issue right away. He barely gets a piece of Silas Stewart coming around the edge. And Ryan Hunter is a great tackle, but this is simply what American tackles look like a week into CFL football because the angles and timings it's all different. It's like imagine taking away one stair from your staircase and then suddenly having to run down the stairs in the middle of the night. Even though he's Canadian, we have to treat him as an American because the style of ball that he's played his whole life, from high school in Buffalo to Bowling Green to Kansas City to Los Angeles, has been with no 1 yard neutral zone. So it is very different. Hunter came in to relieve McKellar at left guard on the last play of the first quarter, and then he'd stay there for the rest of the game. I know I said I like him at tackle best, but realistically, this is probably his spot, left guard, for the rest of the season, because even though it would make all the sense in the world to switch he and Philip Blake so that they can both go back to their natural positions, Hunter can be a solid guard immediately, whereas I'm pretty sure it's going to take him several weeks to get to that same level of comfort at tackle. My favorite thing about Hunter, aside from power, because power is my favorite thing about Hunter, aside from that, it's how he's always looking for work. So Lemon's here in a 4-eye, McLean's on the outside. You know what? I'm going to have to explain. Let's just go with this 4-eye thing for now. Let me explain to you in just a second what that means. I'm talking about defensive alignment. So McLean's on the outside, Lemon on the inside. This is always suspicious because they're in each other's spot. And so you're looking for a twist right off the bat. Lemon crosses Hunter's face, and so he passes him off to Lawrence. And look at his head on a swivel. He's like, where can I help? He checks in with Blake, back to Lawrence. It ends up being a clean pocket. The ball comes out quickly, but I just love this play to see where Hunter's head is at. Where can I help? What can I do? He's always looking for work. All right, I don't want to get into anything too complicated today, like protection calls and stuff like that. But I do want to go over that term I just used, like the term 4-eye and what that means. You've heard the term 3-tech. I'm almost positive you've heard 3-tech used before. It's used a lot in football. Most commonly, it's actually being used to reference the defensive tackle position, but it's actually an alignment, and I want to explain that here. So let's just use this play to kind of map this out. If a player is lined up directly over the center, that's called a 0 technique. And then on the outside shoulder of the center on either side, that's a 1-tech. Head up on the guard is a 2-tech. And so if you've got a 2-eye, that means you're just slightly inside that 2-tech, and so on all the way out. So in that last play, when I refer to a 4-eye, we look at sort of a 4 technique and slightly inside of that. So when you hear the term 3 technique, they're usually referring to a defense's best pass rusher, but technically this is just the alignment. This is usually where that best pass rusher lines up over the outside shoulder of the guard. All right, let's get into this play. This one's a negative play here. It's actually an interception, and it's one we probably do have to pin on the offensive line. But there's some really positive signs from Hunter on this play, even though he doesn't quite get there. So he's got McLean over him in a 2-eye, and again, we say 2-eye because it's slightly inside a 2 technique. Not quite head up, but it's not a 1 either. And this is kind of actually a little bit of an odd formation. Lemon's outside, and we're always watching the MAC. So Hunter is going to protect the A gap here, and then once he passes McLean over to Lawrence, he spots trouble. Remember last play, we saw how he likes to get his head around? He passes off McLean. Now he's like, what can I do? Where can I help? He sees Blake in trouble. Lemon came in. Let's just go back to the beginning of this play. Lemon comes in and just delivers a powerful bull rush on Blake. Lemon is having a fantastic season. And he forces Blake back, and that's going to open this window to the inside. Hunter sees it, and he tries to close it down, but he just can't get there in time. Lemon squeezes through, and he actually causes this interception. He hits Bethel Thompson just as he's about to release the football. It causes the ball to sail high, and it gets picked by the aforementioned Thurman. When I saw this play live, I actually thought Adeyemi Bergman was the one that caused the pick. I thought he got his hand on the ball, and I still can't tell. He may have, but it didn't knock it loose. McLeod was able to keep a grip on the football. It was the hit from Lemon that caused the ball to sail and led to that pick. But again, Hunter trying to do the right thing. It's just going to take some time for that level of communication, that level of awareness to build up. But he had the right idea. He was just a split second late. Now, it wasn't all laurels for Hunter in pass protection, though, and that's to be expected. It's such a communication-dependent position, and while it's an easier adjustment on the inside, there's still going to be issues for a few weeks. We just have to expect that. So Wiggins in a 2-eye, Adeyemi Bergman's a 5-tech. This is going to be a twist, but it's not on the outside, as you might think pre-snap. It's actually on the inside here, and it comes pretty late. This is tough because Hunter's obviously watching Wiggin, and he's got an eye on Judge for that B-gap threat. But Judge has Ouellette in man coverage, so on the snap of the ball, he's going to take off and clear out of here. And Wiggin hits the A-gap. But this has to be a trigger for Hunter, and he realizes it too late. In offensive line play, just like in zone coverage on defense, if someone takes off one way, you better be looking for somebody else to come back at a different level, because that's almost always what's being designed. And of course, on this play, Rose is going to stunt back into the B gap, and Hunter realizes it, but it's too late. He's a step behind, and he can't get there. Bethel Thompson ends up completing this pass, and he doesn't take a hit, but he's lucky that this was a short route, because this could have been trouble with Hunter not getting back to defend the B gap in that twist. And here, Hunter sort of gets caught on the impact end of a twist. And I want to kind of break through what happened here, because his head was in the right place, but his body wasn't quite ready for what was going to happen. So we've got a 2-eye from McLean in front of Hunter. Wiggins mirroring this on the other side. You don't actually see this look a ton. We saw it a lot in this game against Calgary. So they're going to twist, but it's Wiggin who's going to strike first. And Hunter is ready for it mentally, but it's that extra yard I talked about, that neutral zone, that he's not ready for, because you can actually build momentum as a defensive tackle in the CFL. And that speed coming in really affects the impact that you experience as a guard. And so while Hunter is in the perfect position and he knows what's coming, he gets knocked backwards and he can't regain his balance. That allows Wiggin to shed, and then he gets through on the outside. And again, Bethel Thompson's lucky to avoid a hit. He gets a great deep ball out that Daniels can't quite bring in, but this could have been a bit of a disaster. Again, it just shows you the mental side of the game is there for Hunter. He's a really, really bright player, and you're going to see the learning curve go a lot faster for him than it does for a lot of guys coming into CFL football. But there's still going to be a few mistakes like this over the coming weeks where it wasn't a mental mistake. This one's a physical mistake. Where Hunter was able to make an immediate impact was in the run game. So this is an inside zone run that Ouellette cuts back for a big gain. I actually thought this was a designed counter, but I think this is actually him just sort of reading the cutback. There was all sorts of space for him on the play side as well if he wanted to follow it that way. And it's beautifully blocked by all 5 linemen. And Hunter and Lawrence just have the most beautiful exchange here. It's actually going to look on this play like Hunter and Lawrence have been playing together for years. This almost brings a tear to my eye. There's so much trust here. So Hunter has to get Judge on this play, and Lawrence has to take McLean. But they have work to do before that. On the snap, McLean is going to widen, and so Hunter's got to pick him up first. He can't just leave that for Lawrence, obviously. And that's going to allow Lawrence to do a quick check and then help Bladek out with a little chip. And then Hunter trusts that his man is going to be there. He leaves the giant McLean for Lawrence and then climbs up to Judge. And Lawrence is there right on time. He slides over, picks up McLean. There's just so much good stuff on this run. You can watch this play back and look at every single lineman on this play. You got Blake clearing out, Bladek and Allen both sealing for this cutback. But this is just fabulous work on the inside between Hunter and Lawrence. Love this. This one's a classic search play we've seen Coach Dinwiddie run all year. Phillips is going to come across as the receiver and pick up the end, and that's going to leave the Argos with like a numbers advantage on the inside. This one's a way more traditional defensive alignment than the others that I've shown you today. This is a classic over front. We got a 1 technique to the boundary, a 3 tech over Hunter. Allen has got a really tough block to make on Judge, and he's the only one that's not going to get to his man. It's hard to blame him on this. It's tough not to get shaken by the linebacker because they're going to see it coming from the snap of the ball. So Blake's going to take out Lemon. Hunter's got Wiggin, and Lawrence is going to climb to Thurman. And Bladek somehow got to get inside position on McLean here, which he does because Bladek is awesome. But let's just look at Hunter on this play. Wiggin is a powerful 300-pound man, and just watch Hunter wash him right off the screen. Look at the size of the hole here. Look at the space to run. This is something that the Argos have not seen in the run game this season, this kind of space. Judge eventually makes the tackle, but this is a really nice 7-yard gain on first down. And when you can run like this against a pretty crowded box on first down, it opens up so much other stuff. It didn't work for them this game. They had too many other problems, unfortunately, against Calgary, but this is a really positive sign, and Hunter is one of those guys making the difference. Now, it's not all Ryan Hunter, but as poorly as the offense played in this game, they averaged 6 yards a carry on the ground. You compare that to the 4.5 yards a carry that their season average is, and that has to get your attention. They had 8 yards rushing when Hunter came into the ballgame at the end of the first quarter. They finished with 95. This is the CFL team with the lowest yards per carry in the league, and they did not look like it running the football after Hunter came in. His pass protection was a little bit rough at times, but there were some great signs as well, and he's only going to get better as his communication and his familiarity with the Canadian game undoubtedly improve over the coming weeks. Thanks so much for watching this X's and Argos film session. My name is Ben Grant. I'll see you next time.